Hey guys, it's Eddie and today I am back with another movie review for you all. Now today's movie that I'll be reviewing is a recent animation that's been released, and when I heard that it was coming out a couple of years ago I was incredibly excited, and I'm so glad that I finally got to see it and been able to review it for you all. And it is The Incredibles 2, the sequel to the first Incredibles, which was released in 2004, I believe. So this one has been very eagerly awaited by me, by people my age. It's a big one, and it is directed by Brad Bird yet again, and I loved it. Just gotta preface this whole video by saying that I think it met my expectations anyway, and it was a great sequel. But I'll get into the reasons why in a moment. First of all, I think that it's great because this film is a great deal longer than I expected. It's a real epic in animation terms because it's almost like properly feature length, and this is great considering we waited so long for this sequel. It's great for answering the questions that were set up at the end of the first one, and it's also just great for seeing these characters that we know and love so much from the first one develop in the second. So yeah, first of all, I was pleasantly surprised by that. And what I love so much is that it sets off basically directly from the first film. So if you haven't seen the first film, you probably should before watching the second, because it almost continues directly from the end of the first. So it would be a little bit unwise in my opinion to just go home and watch The Incredibles 2 without having watched the first one. You kind of need that knowledge of the plot to sort of get what's happening in the second, which I like. I feel like it was directly for the fans that, you know, loved the first one so much and knew what was going on. The original is a film that I definitely treasured as a child, so it was nice to be able to indulge in that nostalgia when watching the second one. So as I said, I liked how it lifts off from the first. It definitely brought a smile to my face seeing this plot that I've sort of waited a long time to see wrapped up continue. And I also liked how it gave characters that may have been slightly underutilized or not placed in the forefront as much in the first one, a lot more of the spotlight. For example, if you've seen the trailer, you know that Elastigirl is the breadwinner in this film. Obviously she's the mom, and in the first film it focused a lot on Bob's struggles with coming to terms with normal life when he is in fact a superhero. In this film it focused on Helen, aka Elastigirl, being the star, and Bob having to come to terms with his role as a stay-at-home dad. And I thought that was great. Some of Elastigirl's solo sequences, particularly in her first job where she takes on the job of saving a train and she's on her really cool bike, some of those scenes rivaled some of the best action scenes I've ever witnessed. I thought they were great. They were so exhilarating, so exciting, and I think that the animation was sublime. So it was nice to see Elastigirl really shine and show just how cool we knew she was in the first one. Obviously, like I said, we knew that Helen Parr is a legend, but she really got to show what she's made of in this film, and I'm glad that this film gave her the chance to do that as a character. Now, another character that we didn't see much of in the first installment that really got a chance to shine in this one was Jack the baby. In the first one, we don't know if Jack has powers or not, but it is revealed at the end of the first one that he does, and this film focuses a lot on him, showing exactly what he is capable of doing, and it's a lot. And it also depicts the rest of the family finding out about this, and it's great. He provides so much delight throughout the film and so much comedy, and in every scene I was looking for Jack. I was looking forward to what he was going to do next, and I thought that he shone undeniably bright in this film, and I'm really glad because he made most of the film for me. I thought that Jack was fantastic, a fantastic little character, and it was nice to see him sort of come into his own in this film, because we were all wondering about Jack Jack, and yeah, he really provided a lot of the comedy in this film, and I thought it was great. Now, fan favourite characters like Frozone and Edna Mode were included, I think, a tasteful amount. It was definitely not gratuitous, it was just enough for entertainment while still being relevant to the plot, and that was nice because obviously it was lovely to see them. These are characters that I've adored from childhood, and I know many others have, so obviously it was nice to see a little nod or reference to them, but it wasn't like overuse. It did still focus on the family and of this new plot, and that was great. Now, I understand completely the need for development, especially in a kids film and especially in a sequel, and introducing new things, but there are some new superheroes in this film. Although they didn't have a huge role, I do think that they were a little bit weird and odd. I think that, I mean, they were supposed to be like that, I think, a little bit quirky and weird. But I found them a little annoying, and I know towards the end of the film, as you'll see if you watch it, they do become more integral to the plot. But I think I would rather there had been a little bit more focus on the family in that respect. I know the whole film can't be about the family, but I just really didn't care about these new superheroes. I know that they were a plot point, but I felt like that's all they were. I kind of just wanted them to get off screen because they were kind of weird and annoying. Didn't really like them. Didn't really like the design of them either. They were just odd. They seemed a little bit out of place. But I understand, as I said, the need to make things new in a sequel and to sort of keep the audience on their toes. There is a sort of twist, if you can call it that, in this film towards the end. And to me, it did seem a little bit basic. It seemed like you could see it coming a mile away. But then I remembered that I am a 20-year-old sitting in a cinema with like 100 kids. So what may seem obvious to me may not seem obvious to a 5-year-old. So I think that in that respect, the point about the plot being a little basic is stupid. But that's just an observation that I made. It was probably not an observation made by the kids sitting in the seats around me. But yeah, for a I think it feels like a really long film. For a long film, the plot was a little bit basic. But then again, it's a kids' animation, so you can't really complain. I think that it was nice seeing these characters that we know and love in a different light. It was nice seeing Helen as the sort of star of the show initially. It was nice seeing Bob sort of get pigeonholed into the role of being a stay-at-home dad, and seeing him interact with the kids more. That was nice. It's just a great family dynamic when it comes to The Incredibles. The characters are so fantastic. And obviously it was nice seeing Violet and Dash being their usual bickering selves again. And of course, Jack Jack just shone like a beacon in terms of just wiping out everything else in the film. He was just the star of the show. He was fantastic. And obviously, although some characters like Elastigirl and Jack Jack got their moments, towards the end, the family dynamic was back in full force, and you sort of needed that for the plot to continue and for everything to come together. It was about, again, them being a family rather than them being separate and having their own roles, which I liked. Overall, for me, this was an amazingly fun and nostalgic experience. Like I said, it was a film that I completely adored when I was a child, and it was nice to see these characters that I hold a very fond part of my heart for. It was nice to see them develop and go in directions that I didn't necessarily expect, and so I want to thank Brad Bird for finally giving us a bloody sequel. It's taken long enough, but it was definitely worth it. Now, would I say that it eclipsed the first? Probably not. I wouldn't say it outshone its predecessor in any way, but it was definitely a great sequel for the fans, and I can definitely appreciate it in all its glory, and the fact that it certainly didn't disappoint in any way. I had a great time. It's a very enjoyable film, and some of the action sequences, especially towards the end, like, are really exhilarating, and I swear they rival like any modern action film that I've seen in a good while. The animation is just stunningly fantastic, and it really makes for an epic animation. So if you are a fan of the original, and if you're a Disney Pixar fanatic, you should definitely go and see this film. Now, overall, I probably have to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars, because although it was brilliant and it met my expectations, can it beat the original? Probably not in my eyes, because it's something I hold very near and dear. But yeah, that is my review of The Incredibles 2. Feel free to leave your opinions and comments below. Leave this video a like, and if you have any other suggestions for films for me to watch and review, you can comment below. But thanks so much for watching this review, guys, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!